Okay, so this video is going to be a response to the Braun Strowman controversy. Apparently, he said some insensitive things about independent pro wrestlers, and some folks have gotten really, really offended. So let's talk about what he said and then what I think. Okay, so he says this is Adam's share. This is Braun Strowman's Instagram account. Here we go with more somebody pay for my bills stuff. If you can't afford to pay your bills, maybe you should change professions. That's why I quit strongman. I loved it, but I couldn't afford to live. So instead of making a GoFundMe or a Patreon, wanting someone else to take care of me, I went out and worked harder than I ever have in my life to get where I am. Whatever happened to being accountable for your own actions? And for anyone that goes and say that's easy for you, you're a WWE superstar. Just for your information, 7 years ago, I moved to Florida with everything I owned in a Kia Soul with $150 to my name when I started this. Okay, so the one thing that people need to understand is nobody is harder on the poor than the people who used to be poor and the people who don't have. If you used to have money, or if you didn't ever had money before, and now you've got it, then you know the sacrifices that need to be made, and you know that you need to retrain yourself, get new skills, all this sort of stuff. So what I think here is he's not wrong. Okay, there's a lot of people who are uh, pro wrestlers and they can't make money off being pro wrestlers, but they continue to do it because they they're chasing their dream. And sometimes you have to. I mean, I'm not one to tell people to give up on their dreams. I don't want to do that. But at the same time, and I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with a GoFundMe or a Patreon if that's really what you want to do. If you can find different ways of monetizing your skills and talents, go for it. So I think he's wrong there. Uh, I think Braun Strowman is wrong on that account as far as uh, e-begging, as they call it. But I'm okay with that, with you having a GoFundMe or a Patreon account. I'm 100% okay with that. But I don't think that Braun Strowman is wrong. Sometimes people do have to take the sacrifice and quit whatever they're doing because it costs more money or they can't survive on it. Sometimes you do have to pack that dream up, especially if you're in your mid to late 30s. Then pro wrestling is probably not for you. I mean, it's just if you're in your mid to late 30s and you can't make a living pro wrestling, you probably should give up. I mean, and that's just, I mean, it's the same thing with, I would say the same thing for somebody who wanted to be in NBA, be in the NFL, who wanted to be a rock star. If it doesn't happen to you by 34, 35, it's probably not going to happen. Okay. Only because you only begin to deteriorate physically at that point. So sports is different than, if you wanted to be a mathematician, you can do that whenever because, the mind stays sharp a lot longer than the body does. But if you've been taking bumps for 10, 15 years and you still can't take care of yourself, you haven't found a long-term gig in any sort of Ring of Honor or Impact or anything like that, then yeah, you probably should tap out. Probably should give up. And it's unfortunate to say that to people, but that's just kind of how it is. Now, what Braun Strowman is getting upset for is because it's a lot of it is this pull yourself up by your bootstraps conversation, which people hate. People hate being told to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, that they can do it themselves, and that other people should not be responsible for making sure that you can take care of yourself. Um, People hate that. They, as much as they hate it, it is absolutely still true. You know, you have to be responsible for yourself. I'm sorry that it sounds tough and it sounds harsh, but if you're going to keep looking for these promoters or other talents or even fans to take care of you, it's just not going to happen. A lot of our heroes growing up, through destroyed their bodies. They abuse themselves with drugs and alcohol, and despite the fact of how much money they made, they continue to do drugs and alcohol way beyond their heyday in pro wrestling, and they end up blowing all of the money that they have. Um, and one of those people, of course, is like Jake Roberts, And there's some Jake Robertses in the business. There's a lot of people who didn't do as well in wrestling. They did not, become the star of the level of a Jake Roberts, but they still managed to retire or leave the business with a substantial amount of money. So the idea that only the WWE can provide you with a decent living as a performer is untrue. You know, other professions can. You just have to work for it. You know, you just have to be willing to sacrifice, uh, at least sacrifice right now to do it in the future. And sometimes, you know, that means making substantially less than you probably could be making right now. And then hopefully you'll be making more money than for the work that you put in the future. Give you a great example. AJ Styles probably makes more money now and does less in matches than he used to. Like if AJ Styles at 42 had to wrestle AJ Styles at 26, you know, he would probably be like, "Oh my God, you know, I can't keep up with this kid." Not just because of his age, but because of the wear and tear on his body, but because he has those extra 15 to 20 years of experience, he makes more money now. You know, so he doesn't have to do as much. He doesn't have to work as hard. He has more uh, um, safety and what's that? Like a nest egg. He has more money, you know. And there's a lot of people who are like that now, you know. And you could do that in other promotions. Like people don't go and stay for decades in Impact. You know, there's a lot of people. There's some people have been in Impact 10 years. You know, you don't stay there unless you can make a decent living there. You know, you just don't. You know, Ring of Honor, if you've been there, like the Briscoes and Jay Lethal, you can't tell me those guys were broke. They're not going to keep wrestling in ROH forever, and they're broke. There's just no chance, you know. So the opportunities are out there. There's a lot of promotions. You know, Colt Cabana is another guy who just he's floating from promotion to promotion, constantly pulling himself up. And you know, and I hate Colt Cabana. I don't think he's a good performer at all. I really don't like him. But I got to give the guy credit for a guy who was on the WWE roster for a cup of coffee. I'm pretty sure he didn't get $10 million to work as a job guy in the WWE, and now he's just living off that. He was doing good indie stuff before that, and then he continued to work indies and promote himself and do all that stuff. And now he can live comfortably. He can go back and forth between NWA and AEW and going to Japan and all that type of stuff because he did the work. You know, he did the work when he was young too. So if you're a young independent wrestler, you really don't have a choice. You know, Braun Strowman is giving you the keys to the kingdom here, and it sounds offensive and it sounds upsetting, especially for fans and stuff. But it's the truth. If you cannot make money pro wrestling, do something else. You know, because there are a lot of people out here who can make money pro wrestling, and maybe you're just in their way. But hey, nope. Like I said, nobody is harder on the poor than those who used to be poor. You know, because we know, they know, we know, whatever the case may be, what it takes to move forward. So like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.